So you bought a property and you want to protect it with an LLC. That's a good start. Now you may have watched my last video on this and ready to create the LLC and put the property under it. But wait, just setting up the LLC will not give you the protection or protections that you're looking for. Aw, but Kai, what happens if someone sues me? Don't worry, there's a way to protect both you and your property with the LLC that's relatively easy, yet a lot of people overlook it and still do not do it. Spurred by your comments and questions, I'm making this follow-up video. Now, quick moment of seriousness. I'm not a legal professional and this is not legal advice from me to you. What you're about to hear is merely my silly interpretations after working in business and real estate for nearly 2 decades. Obviously, you should consult with a local legal and tax professional because each state and situation is very specific to you. But before you do that and you want to learn how to set up an LLC correctly, check out today's sponsor, LLC University. They literally provide all of their information and courses on LLCs for free, including how much it'll cost to file, tax information, and even a state-specific step-by-step process. You can then do it on your own or use one of their partners to file the LLC for you. Check them out with my links down below. But I'm gonna be dropping some information bombs on you today, including how it's possible to even further protect your properties, even potentially from a divorce. So stick all the way through the video to the end if you wanna know my hack around that. So I'd like you to meet John. John runs a rental business out of his home as a sole proprietorship. All revenues, expenses, customers, and liabilities run through him. Now John's business really starts to grow, and based on legal advice from his business attorney and CPA, he decided to create a business entity with an LLC designation. His LLC has contractors, and even he is considered an employee of the company. The big difference here though is that all revenues, expenses, customers, and liabilities run through the LLC. Now there's a space here between John and his business and everything related to it. This invisible shield is important to understand, and how it works is even more critical. There are a few more things you need to consider, but first we need to know how an LLC does protect us. Now this is straight from the NOLO website, which is a website that helps break down annoying legal jargon into language that we can all understand. By forming an LLC, only the LLC is liable for the debt and liabilities incurred by the business, not the owners or managers. And to follow that up, in all states, having an LLC will protect owners from personal liability for any wrongdoing committed by the co-owners or employees of an LLC during the course of business. If the LLC is found liable for the negligence or wrongdoing of its owners or employees, the LLC's money or property can be taken by creditors to satisfy a judgment against the LLC, but the LLC owners would not be personally liable for that debt. However, one thing that's very important is to point out what an LLC does not protect you from. Forming an LLC will not protect you against personal liability for your own negligence, malpractice, or other personal wrongdoing that you commit related to your business. If both you and your LLC are found liable for an act you commit, then the LLC's assets and your personal assets could be taken by creditors to satisfy the judgment. And I want you to remember this last part here though. We're gonna talk more about it in a minute. And this is why LLCs and their owners should always have liability insurance. So when we set up an LLC for our business, or in this case for our properties, we are creating a separation of assets, income, and liabilities from ourselves. But that doesn't automatically give us full protection from the world. Remember, you're doing something illegal or gross negligence will not protect you in any state, even if you have 15 LLCs set up. But under normal and real world situations and circumstances, to maximize our distance from potential trouble, we combine our LLCs with multiple insurance policies, and that will give us as big as a moat as possible around us and our businesses. My policy setup looks something like this. First, I have a standard home and property policy, and if this is a rental or a land hack project, I always increase the liabilities protection on this policy to give me extra coverage. The second is what I call an activity policy. This is something that I add on that basically ensures the activities that are going on the property. Obviously, I mostly deal with rentals, so I'll add a rental endorsement or stamp to my main policy. In some cases, you may need to just purchase a totally separate rental policy. Look into it. This is the same thing if you're running a petting zoo, a wedding venue, campground, vineyard, or farm. Always make sure that you have a policy that covers all activities occurring on your property. Third one is something called a professional liability insurance. The next layer of protection here is kind of a combo. It's another LLC that serves as my management company, and then I also get that professional liability insurance, and it's something called an error and omissions policy, or E&O insurance. This is a type of professional liability insurance that protects companies, their workers, and other professionals against claims or inadequate work or negligent actions. Now, this this tends to be a bit more expensive, so be sure you shop around to find the best one for you and your needs. And the last layer is perhaps the one that lets me sleep well at night, an umbrella policy. I personally look for at least $1 million in protection and increase it accordingly each time my risk exposure is increased. Now, you can decide what's best for you. Umbrella policies are a catch-all just in case other policies are not big enough or somehow the person dragging you through the court system circumnavigated all of your other strategies somehow. Similar to car insurance and the chance you need legal representation and you go to court, these policies can help cover those costs and even pay out the other party. And that's why we call it layering, because you put one policy on top of another. Now, it's kind of like what my friend says about guns. You'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I really feel that way, so that's why I personally like to layer so many of my policies on top of one another. Obviously, talk to your insurance agents or broker to find the best policies for the coverage that you need. Now, there are many business and real estate investors out there who may still have a lot of risk exposure and want to be even more anonymous. So they take things one step further than just setting up holding LLCs for their properties. They'll actually set up a parent LLC or multiple parent LLCs in states like Delaware, Nevada, and Wyoming and put their child LLCs underneath that parent company to provide even more protection and advantages that are very state specific. But all of that's for another video. So subscribe and leave a comment below if you want me to make something specifically on that. Definitely worth looking into if you have a higher net worth or several properties in several different states under your name and you need estate planning and you really don't want anybody touching your stuff or assets. There are some drawbacks to this and potentially lack of control, so be sure to talk to a trusted attorney before you set any of this up. Now, if you're looking for that super special protection, there is something out there that I'd only recommend to you after you consulted with your legal professional. Now, I added an additional layer of protection on some of my assets by using these holding companies or LLCs, and I put the ownership in someone else's name completely. Now, I'm listed as a registered agent, and I draft the articles of incorporation in a manner that still gives me autonomy, the ability to sign documents, and then obviously make decisions. Now, clearly, I don't have to really say this, but I only do this with people or individuals that I truly trust, like trust with my life type of trust, like my sister, for example. I put one in her name and I put one in somebody else's name, so on and so forth. That way, if a divorce were to occur, these LLCs would not show up under my name or ownership and protected, or more so protected. This is obviously something that is used more often for when you have several high value assets and you really want to limit your exposure. Downside is though, if your sister or mom or whomever messes up and gets sued, you could potentially lose that asset. So it's a give and take. Again, legal and tax strategies are very dependent on the person and a state, so go talk to a true professional to see if this could work for you. Or you can read up and learn about LLCs for free at LLC University before paying $200 an hour for an attorney. It's also probably a lot easier to navigate the LLC University website than your state's website. Again, links down below. And if you didn't see or want a reminder on why to never buy under your real name, here's my last video that sparked this one. And if you want to stick it to the man, destroy that like button just down below. It's our way of voting for every video on YouTube and telling our AI overlords what you think is a good or informative video. And a bonus, I truly appreciate your gesture too. If you want to learn more how to work with me or join my next cohort of students in my Land Hacker program, check out my website, kaiandrew.com. I'm launching the next enrollment this holiday season, so put your name on the wait list. And I also don't push it nearly enough, but if you want a more up-to-date on my projects and what I am doing when I'm not working on YouTube videos, follow me on the Instagram at KaiJAndrew. Okay, sound off in the comment section below how you think I'm wrong and I shouldn't be giving legal advice, which I am not. Go consult with a professional. I love you all. See you in the next video. Kai out.